Dear students, myself Kiran MP. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Government Engineering College, Kushalnagar. In previous session, I mean session 4, I have given you an introduction to an important topic of an important tool in the fundamentals of web development, that is forms. All of you are familiar with what actually form is. So form is something, an alternative way through which a user interacts with a web server. And this is what we learnt in previous session. Also in previous session I given an example of form which we used to often use in our day-to-day activities. Say for example Gmail login form. Also in previous session I have discussed about query string. Hope you remember. So query string is a set of parameters, right, or a set of form elements with the values that is being sent to server. Also in previous session we have discussed about URL encoding. I mean how white spaces and some other unsafe ASCII characters will be encoded, right? We have seen white space will be encoded as plus and some other ASCII unsafe ASCII characters will be encoded as percentile followed by two valid ASCII values. Okay, so now in this session, okay, I'm going to give you an explanation about two important form elements. One, the action, and the other is the method. Okay, there are two form elements which you are going to discuss in detail in this session: the action and the method. So now let me have a look at the agenda of this session. So first let me tell you what are those two form elements. Okay, just I said one is action and the method, right? What are they actually? We'll see first. Later there are two methods, okay, of passing query string. Got it? They are of which the first is the get method and the second is the post method. We'll see what actually these methods are. Okay, and at the last we'll see what actually difference between these two methods of passing query string, and we'll compare the advantage and disadvantages of get and post, and then we'll wind up the session. So coming to form elements, I said there are two essential features in any form, right? One is the action and the other one is the method attribute. So action here means it's similar to Google server. Okay, remember when you type gmail.com, you will be prompted login page, right? Now you are going to enter your username, okay, and a password. Then you are going to click on submit. Once your username and password are validated at the client side, then a query string will be formulated and the query string will be sent to Google server. Okay, so Google server is going to process your query string. So here the action on submitting in Google login form, okay, the query string is sent to Google server to process, right? So here similarly in the form element the action attribute specifies who is that server side resource who should process the form data. Got it? So action in form specifies the server side resource, server side script, okay, who's going to process the form data that is sent through query string. Clear? So then what is method attribute? So method attribute specifies how the query string data will be transmitted from the user browser to the server. Okay, so I repeat, method attribute specifies how query string will be sent from browser to server. Okay, I mean should query string should be sent securely or security may be compromised. Got it? So based on this, there are two methods of transmitting query string from the user browser to the server. They are the get and the post method. So first we will have a look at this methods prototype. Okay, how they need to be specified in form element. Then I'll tell you differentiate them. Then we'll have a discussion about the advantages and disadvantages. So have a look at this slide carefully. Okay, first have a look at web page. Okay, so web page is very simple, right? It contains one simple form with two input fields. One is a text box field and other one is a drop down menu select field. Got it? So remember in the previous session, okay, I said this text box is name title and this option select field is named where. Is it? So now let me assume on submission, okay, the query string that is title equal Central Park and where equal United States will be sent to the server, say here in this case process.php using get method. Okay, let me assume it's a get method. So what happens, this query string now will be appended to the URL and will be sent. Now we just have a look at first box. Okay, first rectangular box shown starting with get. Okay, here I said on submission the request will be sent to whom? The query string will be sent to server here, that is process.php. But method what I have used here is get. So get what it does, it appends query string to server name, okay, in the URL, that is process.php question mark. Got it? So question mark access delimiter between the server side script file name, okay, server side script program name and query string. Question mark access delimiter between server side script and the query string. Got it? So, and you know that, right? In query string, white space will be encoded as plus. Got it? And ampersand is a field delimiter between the parameters. Okay. So now, anyone who is viewing your browser, okay, you can easily have a look at the URL, and you can come to know what actually what actually is being sent to the server process.php. So on the other side, let me assume that the method we have used is post. Okay, so when I use post method, okay, what happens? Query string won't be appended to server side script program name. Okay, rather this query string will be encapsulated within an HTTP header field. And will be sent. Got it? So when method is post, query string will be encapsulated, will be included in HTTP header and will be sent. So the advantage what you can see here is if anyone is viewing your browser, okay, on viewing at the URL, since the URL doesn't contain this query string, is unaware of what actually being sent to server. Clear? So now coming to advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so I think almost everyone are clear. So in case of get, we know data can be clearly seen in the address bar. Is it? Because query string follows server side script name. Is it? So in case of get, data can be clearly seen in the address bar, whereas not in post method. So in case of get, data remains in browser history and cache memory, whereas in post, data doesn't store in browser history and cache memory or bookmarks. In get, data can be bookmarked. So since in case of get query string, okay, query string is appended to the URL, there's a limit. Okay, query string is appended to the URL, there's a limit on the number of characters in the form data, whereas not in post. Okay, and one more thing what I can say, get is unsecure whereas post is more secure. With this, I will wind up this session. Thank you.